Being broke is not always a bad thing. How you doing, guys? Scott here again with Six Figure Dog Trainer. Peace. How are you? The reason I wanted to bring this topic up is because I've done it both ways. I've started businesses where I've had a fair amount of money in the bank, and I've started businesses where I've had almost nothing in the bank. And when you're broke, you make much more thoughtful decisions, and that's important. It's easy to throw money at stuff when you have money. It's like the lazy man's way of marketing and handling problems is to throw money at it, and it's not the best way to go. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. When in 1992, I started a roofing company. I had $500, I think I had maybe. And what I did, you can't do it these days, but what I did then was I bought a list of homeowners, addresses and phone numbers from a list company. I think I spent $350. It was a major investment for me. But I bought the list within a community where I wanted to buy a home and live. This was my big vision. I wanted to live in this community. I wanted to raise a family in this community. It was a very affluent, really nice community. So I bought a list right there. I got on the phone. I was in a one-bedroom apartment. I got on the phone and I started calling people up, and I said, "Hi, this is Scott with Williams Roofing." I didn't even have a name for my company at that point. I said, "I'm going to be in your neighborhood doing a couple estimates tomorrow. If you need anything, I'd be happy to stop in. There's no obligation. I can take a quick look at it, leave you a written estimate, and be on my way." And within an hour and a half, I had 8 leads. And the typical response was, "No, I don't need anything, thanks." But then I get people saying, "Well, my chimney leaks. I'm not going to promise you anything. If you want to come by and look at it, be my guest." Great. I had 8 leads within like a 3-block area. So I didn't have to drive all over the place. Just boom, 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 went out and saw these things. And the first one, the first chimney leak I looked at, it wasn't a big deal. I told the guy, "I can fix it right now for $50, if you'd like." Which is very reasonable for a roofing company, right? What I was trying to do was build a list of references. So I did it quick. Next time it rained, I called them. "How's that chimney holding up?" A lot of communication. I'm a new young business. I barely had any tools. I had a can of roofing cement, a spatula, and I had like next to nothing, a hammer, tool belt. I had next to nothing when I started this thing. And in fact, when I sold my first roofing job, which was out of one of those 8 leads, it was a $5,000 job. And I had to borrow some money to buy a ladder, to buy a couple of basic things. I had the owner of the property pay for the materials. And then I borrowed, I think, about, $600-700. Bought some equipment. When the job was done, I paid that person right back when the job was finished. And that's how the business got going. And I went from there, and I'm just going to tell you real quick, I'm not going to go on and on about the roofing company, but that method of getting leads I found to be so good for the investment that I opened up a little telemarketing room. I got, within I think maybe 6 months, I hired 3 women. They were girls, 17, 18-year-old girls. They'd come to my little office I had, which was a little tiny space, and I had telephone lines put in there. And every night at 5 o'clock, 4 nights a week, Monday through Thursday, I'd meet the girls there, and they would call these lists for me. And what I would do is I would call at the same time they were calling. I'd call everyone back that I saw the week before. So I was closing deals on the phone with people that I had left estimates with that didn't make a decision, wanted to think about it, this, that, and the other thing. So that was kind of how I got started with no money. And that turned into a $1 million business, so doing $1 million a year. I went from, it's a long story, but I went from having no home, being homeless in Los Angeles, within 8 years living in a home that was worth well over $1 million, and like achieving the American dream in 8 short years. And it's a long story. And on the outside, it looked like the American dream because I got everything I thought I was supposed to get. I wasn't happy with the overhead of the nice home and all of these things and having to be on that treadmill all the time. But it was an amazing, quick, rapid ascent when I focused on that business and focused on anything. And it can be exactly the same way with you and your dog training business. So with the dog training business, I had the roofing company going. I wanted to start a dog training business. I wanted to get away from roofing. I didn't enjoy roofing at all. I love dog training. So I took money from the roofing business to start pumping into the dog training marketing. And I spent a lot of money to get that thing off the ground really quick because I had all this overhead and I knew I needed to do a fair amount of money to get it going. And so I got the dog training business going. Within 2 years I was doing, over $200,000 a year in gross sales in the dog training business. But I pumped a lot of money into that on the front end. But here's the thing, I got lazy about my leads. I started doing Google AdWords and I was getting 7 leads a day. I started cherry picking my leads. I started I'd prejudge the leads. What's the name, where do they live? Because I had so many leads. I'm getting 50 leads a week. And I was spending $2,000 a month on Google AdWords. And I just let that run because the money was coming in, everything was good, but I was being lazy, and I was being stupid, and I was spending money that didn't need to be spent on leads I didn't need because I wasn't even following up on every single lead. So that's what I mean about sometimes it's better to be broke. When you're broke, you're really careful, you're thoughtful about financial decisions, about where the money's going to go, what's the return going to be, can I afford to make this investment at this time? So if you don't have a lot of money, it's a good thing. It really is, because you're going to be thoughtful and methodical. You're going to try out things. You'll do a lot more guerrilla type marketing. You go out there and visit your vet's offices and your dog walkers and your groomers and the pet feed stores, giving them your brochures, introducing yourself. That doesn't cost anything. And I had leads coming in from vets and all that stuff all the time. So that's all I want to say, guys. Being broke is not always a bad thing when it comes to running your business and getting something off the ground. And I'll say lastly, with the roofing business, I got away from that telemarketing room pretty quick after things got going. I think about a year later I just closed it because it was too much work for me. I was out in the morning running leads, getting jobs going. I had employees running back to the office at 5 to get these girls going, and it became too much. So I got rid of the girls. Well, then I had to start pumping a lot more money into advertising. Back then it was the yellow pages. There wasn't any internet to speak of. And then I was very much a victim of the weather. If the weather was good, nobody friggin' called me. They'd call if it was raining or they had a big windstorm and blew a bunch of shingles off the roof. But I didn't have control of my leads, turning them on, turning them off the way I did when I had a telemarketing room because I got lazy.